Now, my only really real criticism, I would say, of the documentary Evolution and Polyamory, linked down in the underbar, would simply be the fact that, at least from an anthropological standpoint, Ania is trying to argue that polyamory tends to be the default position. I kind of have to disagree. I am, or have been at least until recent, a practicing polyamorist, and the reason why I'm not practicing now is simply just because I've found somebody who absolutely satisfies me on every level. Does that mean that my polyamory was a lie? No, don't be ridiculous. But I struggled with my polyamory because of the point that is made in that video, which is that we try to push that monogamy is and always should be the only way in which people are supposed to live. And she's right. We need to have a serious and open dialogue about what is monogamy, what is polyamory. How do you tell the difference? How do you know if you are or if you aren't a polyamorous? Because here's the thing. I've lost a partner or two just because I had to make a choice that, you know, my polyamory would impact the relationship and I'm just not right for that person. And the person couldn't accept polyamory. And I don't honestly believe that it was simply because she happened to be religious as well as the fact that she happened to have been raised in an idea of monogamy. I do believe that you have to be wired for it. There are people who get into polyamory for the wrong reasons, and if you're jealous, that can also very much impact how good of an experience you'd have as a polyamorous, in which case I would say I don't think polyamory is for you. I know this topic is getting broad. I was mainly trying to talk about sex, but here's my challenge to you uh, monogamy only types. Let me give you the broadest definition and overview of polyamory from both my experience and my time talking to polyamorous. Typically, it is a committed relationship with one or more people, well, typically more if you're going poly, but it's committed. Everybody typically knows everybody, but not everybody is forced to get along with everybody. I've known married couples who were polyamorous themselves, or at least the wife is, the husband's okay with the situation here, and they have, the first couple has kids together. Typically, there's like a primary relationship with two people who tend to live together, and then those two can sometimes they can all live together, or sometimes these people all live their separate lives and get together when they want to express their love, their affection, their emotions, their relationship, or when they want to just spend time. Again, this isn't simply about sex when it comes to polyamory, much to the chagrin of the people who are all about it's monogamy or you're cheating. Oh, polyamory, oh, you're cheating with permission. What does that even mean? I'm sorry. No. And if we can break this mold, it's a mold I'm planning to break with my son so that hopefully, if he happens to be like me, he could understand how he is when he grows up and make his own choices. He may very well be monogamous only, and I wouldn't berate him for that. That's more than fine if that's what he's wired for. But if he's like me, I'd rather he doesn't struggle thinking in his head, oh, it's monogamy or I'm a cheating, lying scumbag bastard of and everything that is wrong with men, and could get himself into relationships, better relationships than I got myself into, that can work because he knows himself and his partner hopefully knows herself or himself. I'm not going to judge if my son turns out to be gay. Um, in fact, I might be a little more happy about that, but I digress. But the point is, I want him to have an understanding of his heart and his relationship because I did struggle. I never cheated. But that's not to say that I didn't have interests in people who complimented me in ways that my current partner just couldn't do. and that I would be as much invested in that relationship as I was with my current one. But I didn't even understand that polyamory was an actual option. I didn't know it existed because I've come from a place where people are constantly trying to tell me that men are scum. Men are cheating, lying bastards. You can't trust them as far as you can throw them. And the only way to be an honorable man is to serve woman. No, I'm not joking either. I think the intention was pure, but unfortunately, this illustrates where I got messed up in life, where I picked the wrong people and had very bad relationships because of that fact, because that was hammered into my head. It was made into something that I had to be this or I was wrong. I had to be this or I was evil. And I didn't want to be evil. I didn't want to be wrong. I never want to do bad by anybody, especially in relationships. And I never technically ever did. But that doesn't mean that monogamy for a big part of my life was really for me. I could have saved myself so many headaches, and I could have saved a lot of very good women, a lot of heartache, a lot of headaches, a lot of turmoil in struggling with the situations that came of our coupling together. Because I didn't know me. I didn't understand me because nobody told me about this. I'm not letting my son have to go through the same stumbling blocks when it comes time to give him the talk. Because I don't see a reason for it. But again, if he becomes monogamous, not unlike myself, then that's fine too. I'm not going to begrudge him simply because he knows himself. Hopefully, thankfully, because I gave him a thorough talk and gave him an idea of what one's heart, one's sexuality, one's ideas can be like, and how important love, sex, relationships, and all that actually can be. Not to mention the fact that I'm with somebody who is very, very well-adjusted young lady, and she is giving me a very healthy relationship. I'm giving her one right back, and I'm actually making it work monogamously, and I'm very happy because she's everything I could have ever wanted. Everything I've almost ever found in multiple women is in this woman. Therefore, I don't feel the need to look elsewhere anymore. In fact, I see women a lot differently than I used to, which isn't a bad thing. But it shouldn't have taken me this long to get this far in life. It shouldn't have taken me this long to figure this out because I was hammered into the idea of purity, the idea of honor, the idea of all these things that I adhered to, not realizing that by the list that I'm going to be reading, in many ways I was depriving myself for an ideal, and in some cases hurting myself inside because I didn't realize what parts of the keys to a healthy, happy, active life actually means. Sure, we talk about exercising. Yes, that's important. That's fine. We talk about proper eating. Again, that is absolutely right and fine. But we're unwilling. We are darn near unwilling to talk about sex as a viable way of doing things such as pain relief, such as helping your heart, helping your prostate, especially you men out there, which is why when you're being moralistic against sex, you're actually being moralistic against your health, because men who don't masturbate or at least get regular sex on a daily to near daily basis generally run a higher risk than women of getting prostate cancer. And that's a nasty thing to have. That affects your penis. That affects that thing that you think is the most important thing in the world at times, and can make it not work well, if at all. And that's kind of the point I'm starting to come to here. So let me end this one right here, and then we will finally get into the articles. But I wanted to address polyamory for the reason of asking those of you out there who say the phrase, "It takes a village to raise a child." Well, if that village happens to be polyamorous, how is that bad? How is that wrong? If each of these people are good in their own ways and are good for the child in their own ways, and as long as these couples are conducting themselves in appropriate fashions around these kids, why is it wrong that, oh, it takes a village to raise a kid, but the moment any of that village is screwing each other, somehow that's evil, wrong, nasty, and bad? Why? If a polyamorous cluster of people can come together and be a positive force in creating a productive, non-violent, non-broken member of society, how is that wrong? How is that morally wrong, reprehensible, or otherwise? Please answer this for me.